Hello, welcome to Hot Dog on a Handshake's Classic Review Series. I'm Shane Price, joined by Jaden Ginsweider here for another episode of our series where we go back in time and look at some older events that time tickle our fancy, I guess.
Going way back in time this time.
One's very far back, very long ago, 9 years of fact. Whoa. This is WXW's Superstars of Wrestling Day 1 in Oberhausen, Germany.
The Turbinen Halle, 520 people in attendance on May 2nd, 2015. Explain to people who may not know what WXW is and kind of why it's important.
It's the top European promotion. I guess it's important just based on that alone. I mean, the names on this card who are in WWE right now.
Well, so the reason we picked this show is because during the Lost Tapes episode of Noah Navigate for Evolution.
The Lost Media Edition.
The Lost Media Edition, which is truly lost. Nobody will ever be able to find that, unfortunately. We just stumbled upon this. It was a really late night recording, and we were just kind of really getting off topic. And through the lens of, let me make sure I pronounce his name right, Yoshihiro Takayama, we discovered this show, and I just kind of went down the card. So I'll do that here. The names that you may recognize on this show, starting off hot with Ultimo Dragon in a match where he's facing, in a six-man where he's facing the man now known as Ludwig Kaiser, and on Kaiser's team is Juventud Guerrera.
Bang.
We get Ilya Dragunov on this show, James Storm of TNA fame, Kaylee Ray and Tony Storm. Tony has no relation to James as far as I know.
And Kaylee's the Alba Fire.
Yeah, Kaylee Ray now Alba Fire. Tony Storm, James Storm, either one of them related to Lance Storm?
No.
Oh.
Sadly, they're all distant cousins.
Yep. X-Pac is
what's he doing here?
Mason Ryan from the New Nexus is on here. Tyler Bate, of course, of Mustache Mountain and was in NXT for like 11 years. Big Daddy Walter, now known as your World Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General Gunther. And then Yoshihiro Takayama, as we mentioned. And then the main event is Matt Sydal versus Marty Scurll. So that's all the names on here. One name, we always talk about how the Outrunners were supposed to be on the shows. That wasn't going to happen here. The Outrunners were out for pretty much the whole of 2015 because they accumulated so much muscle mass that they actually tore the fabric of reality and spent like that whole year in the area between multiverses.
How could I forget?
Yeah. So that was the year that they were just traveling between multiverses for the entire year, and then eventually returned to us in like February of 2016, I want to say, maybe March. But
How could I ever forgotten that?
So they were just out for 2015. They were never going to be able to be booked.
Well, they wrestled in a Royal Rumble type match, but it was too powerful.
Yeah. So they were off having adventures with alternate versions of themselves that are just as cool and just as jacked.
Superman 2099, Turbo Floyd.
Yeah, Outrunners 2099. All right, you want to get into the show? 2 hours and 11 minutes, the runtime on this. It is on WXW's
streaming
YouTube
service
channel.
Type thing on YouTube?
It's on their YouTube channel if you pay for the subscription. If you pay for the membership, which we did. It's only $10.
Good noodles.
And there's all kinds of WXW stuff.
I mean, they're
there.
uploading a triple tag leagues right now, so
they're doing cool stuff now. But
Japan,
like we said, Gunther, Tyler Bate came through this company. Ilya Dragunov, I'm sure Pete Dunne has been there a bunch of times. Killer Kelly, there's all over. Pretty much any European talent you can think of has been in this company, so you can go check that out. On to the matches.
Our first match of the night is Miguel Ramirez and Toby Blunt and Ultimo Dragon, of all people, take on. They're hot, they're spicy, but they're not Curry Man.
No Curry Man.
Marcel Barthel and Damak. And Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah, Marcel Barthel is Axel Dieter Jr., also known as Ludwig Kaiser, also known as Marcel Barthel.
Right.
And, of course, Juvi.
Grabs the mic
and brings up Eddie Guerrero immediately.
and then during the match, tries to get chants going, and it goes, and he can go, juicy, and he gives up halfway through.
Yeah. I thought this was a solid opener. I thought there was solid, really good stuff with Juvi and Ultimo, but not much else here. I I think what's really interesting about this show is that we're not really watching it because it's gonna be good. We're watching it because it's a weird combination of people who were good prior to 2015 and people who are going to be great after 2015.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird time in history to check in on all of these wrestlers.
Yeah, it's like looking back at like celebrities' middle school pictures.
Yeah.
So they're not toddlers, but they're not adults. So it's like a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then our next...
I gave that match 3 stars, by the way.
I gave
Solid
it
opener.
2.5.
Yeah.
And our next match features Chris Brooks, the current DDT KOD Openweight Champion, I think it's called, which is, according to the title fight, as important as the GHC Heavyweight title, which is insane.
Okay.
Against,
I guess.
Against a German guy named Robert, I believe.
Dreisker?
Dreisker.
Who was a beast. He's a monster.
Actually, if you look at his gear, he's the missing third man from Natural Disasters.
Oh.
Because he has Avalanche on it.
Avalanche? Yeah. Yep.
The special was just okay, I think. It
was kind of short and sweet.
Yeah, I gave it 2.5 again.
2 3/4. So it was a little higher on it. And then can I read you what my next note is?
Sure, I'll read you mine too.
Excuse me, is that fucking Vince
Oh
Russo?
Mine is, oh my God, no fucking way.
So
and then
I realized after this, Vince Russo's on the thumbnail. I just didn't notice him because he's like the smallest face on the thumbnail.
I didn't even notice him either.
Yeah. Vince Russo shows up.
My next line is a direct quote from his TNA debut. Oh shit, it's Vince Russo.
Yeah, bro. In Deutschland, bro.
Yeah, bro. In Germany, bro. All the fans suck, bro. I'm the real fans,
bro.
Bro. Oktoberfest, bro, sucks, bro. When I saw the cage match page, I saw 2 beer money matches on there. I'm like, wait a minute. This makes sense now. Vince Russo's here.
Yep.
It's gonna be him.
Yep.
There's actually a video or a news story that says that's not true because James. Let's do it later. Russo calls out somebody with the champion.
Karsten Beck. He's in our 6-man later on.
He wasn't sure if he got called out or not by Russo.
He was brought out by
okay.
Russo.
But Russo brings him out. He's the world champion.
And Mason Ryan and Tyler Bate are in his stable.
So Tyler Bate looking very tiny to Mason Ryan. Did him
Tyler
no
Bate was
favors.
18.
Oh my God, really?
At this time, yes.
He's in 2 years later in NXT putting out 5-star matches against Pete Dunne at age 20.
Mm-hmm.
God, I feel old. But thankfully, Russo gets off of our screens long enough for us to have more matches. Mm-hmm. This one is Ilya Dragunov against Jurn Simmons.
Mm-hmm. For the WXW Shotgun title. It's their mid-card belt.
So a guy in the front row of the crowd in the first match had a Mexican flag for Hoovy. Mm-hmm. It is now changed out with a Confederate flag, no, a Mexican flag, my bad, for
the Soviet flag, you mean?
The Soviet flag, yeah. I'm getting my flags confused here. Dragunov. It implies that he has more than one flag with him at the event. Like he came prepared.
No, it's just it's 2-sided. Just the other side of the flag.
He spends his time like taking it apart and putting it back together. Uh-huh. Like, what are you doing? This is a really good match because
I really thought it was solid. Nothing special.
Just like young but still wild and free.
Before he realized he has no will to live.
Yeah.
Before he realized that he was just going to throw himself at everything full speed.
I can see that.
Yeah. So, but you could see the potential in him. It's just a really young.
Yeah, that's the point of this show. Is like it's a potential show.
Mm-hmm.
You can see potential in him. Walter.
I think Walter was already there. Walter's really good.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Kaylee Ray and Tony Storm. We'll get to that. Yeah. That was 2.5. Nothing special. Just
I give it 3.
Pretty average match. All right. Yeah. 3.
And oh my God, let's see our tag team matches. It's really weird
because it's technically 2 matches. I rated it all together as 1.
It's fair. I don't blame you. It is James Storm and Mike Schwartz against French Flavor.
Yeah, which is Lucas DeLeo and Peter Fisher.
I call that tag team Oktoberfest because it's James Storm and a German guy.
Like that. That's a good tag team.
Bit there. James in this match, it's an okay match. Like if it ended where it ended,
I do like All-American James Storm versus a team of Frenchmen is just a really funny combination. Just really,
It is
really good work.
especially just right after the match ends.
And no DQ stuff. So basically, explain what happens first, I guess.
So the match ends in DQ, and James Storm grabs a mic and says, "I didn't fly all the way out here to do that."
Mm-hmm.
And he calls them sissies 3 times in 3 seconds,
Love it.
which is insane.
James Storm all the way.
And then the match restarts.
Yeah.
As
a no DQ match. The no DQ stuff was pretty fun. It could have been better, but it was pretty fun.
It should have been the whole match.
For like a small indie setting.
Why start it halfway through the match?
Because like we said, this was a 500-person room. This was not huge. This was, that's probably similar to what we've seen.
Having one, that's probably only one.
Even that's similar to we watched CSW, Central States Wrestling, at the National Guard Armory here in Lenexa. It's about roughly the same room. So imagine that's basically the size of like a middle school basketball court, basically.
Which makes sense for the size that it is.
So, but I gave it 3 1/4. I enjoyed this. That was fun. James Storm's awesome.
3, and I figured out what happened in that title reign. It got deemed null and void by WXW. It doesn't exist.
So that title reign just doesn't exist anymore. Because James Storm and Mike Schwartz win.
Yeah.
Which I was really surprised
They
by.
win the belts, and they defend it the next day.
Huh.
But after that, it's just over.
Yeah.
So it's heading to a MacGuffin type thing with the championship advantage rules, like no DQ, no count out wins. James Storm holds that belt for 3 days, loses it to Nick Aldis, who takes it to TNA, and then it gets to Colt Cabana, and Colt Cabana goes to the Canadian Indies, and I feel like I'm stuck in there for forever. But like the MacGuffin, it's really weird. Guys never heard of it, felt it. But this is the CM Punk, the quote unquote real WXW tag team title.
Okay. So on to the next match.
Yeah.
The women's match.
The women's match. So first of all, the show was 2 hours long. This is where I checked it. I'm like, there's no way of how many matches have been through so far in this card. I mean, this is
a lot of these matches are really short.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have gone 3 hours for this show and just added 5 more minutes to every match, and it would have been good.
Right, 2 more matches too.
Yeah, or add a couple matches. Yeah.
Our next match is the women's match. Kaylee Ray, now Alba Fire against Toni Storm, who's now Timeless Tony.
Yeah, not quite timeless yet.
This is number one. It's like the first. It's like the first one and the second one. It's potential, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, for one, the commentary's in German, so I didn't understand almost any of it.
Correct.
But the commentator does get very excited for the gory bomb. Loved that. It was too short, but it was really, really good work.
Or 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it was 5-6 minutes. In what little time they had. Let's see if Cage Match has a time on it. See, I'm on Chris Brooks' page. Let me get back to the card. Chris Brooks, who we found out once wrestled as the love-making demon. This was 5 minutes, this match. 3.5 stars for me. I really liked it. I just wish it was longer.
I gave it 3 1/4.
Yeah.
So we're pretty close there.
Next match, I cannot say I really liked.
Which is weird because it's, first of all, Absolute Andy, who's the biggest name in European wrestling, and X-Pac against
Absolute Andy was cool.
Against a group known as Keel Holding. Kim Ray and Sasa Keel.
So I didn't like Keel Holding. Absolute Andy was cool. And man, X-Pac was washed.
Yeah, no, he was. He really was.
I said, damn, that gut is really putting that DX gear to the test. And I know I liked Absolute Andy for the most part, but he did do the worst F5 I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. No offense to him, but yeah.
But this was just a really slow, kind of just plodding match. Just kind of felt like just trudging through mud.
Which is really good.
It's not good. It just wasn't good. Especially because I was just all right, get this over with. I want to see Tyler Bate. I want to see Walter. You know what I mean? Let's go.
What would you give it? I guess
this match.
Yeah,
2 stars.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe generous, but I didn't like it. It just wasn't for me. It just didn't click for me.
Our second to last main event of the night is another.
What did you give Absolute Andy?
Oh, my bad. I gave it 2.5.
2.5. Yep.
Another really weird match here that just makes no freaking sense that it's on the show, since half the other matches aren't in the same boat. It is Carson Beck, Mason Ryan, and Tyler Bate versus Takayama for some freaking reason. Big Daddy Walter, or Gunther now, and the and that's somebody else.
John Klinger.
John Klinger, yes, my bad. I'm missing his pronunciation there.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is Takayama doing in WXW?
So that was the whole point of this, because I think we went on when we were talking about Takayama on that episode that was lost. I was just kind of clicking around in Cage Match, and I looked at his career, and I was like, oh, he's been in DDT, he's been in Noah, he's been in New Japan, All Japan. And then I just kind of happened to notice the WXW logo, and I was like, he wrestled in WXW. So we clicked on it. 2 matches. One of them involves 3 guys who I hadn't heard of at the time. Chris Brooks was his tag partner in that match. But the other one, that match happens the day after this. It's Bobby Guns and Vincent the Beast versus Chris Brooks and Takayama. But then I saw that he teamed with Walter against Mason Ryan and Tyler Bate in a 6-man. And so we looked at that card. All these weird names were on it. So we were like, we have to do this eventually. And coming up this week, actually, is WXW. Let me make sure I get the name of the show right. W6W Broken Rules 12.
Right.
It's like a big event that they do. So I was like, let's just throw it in this week and have fun with WXW.
Have fun, watch WXW.
Yeah.
I guess fun's the right word, I guess.
So,
kinda.
but this was good. I really like this. Tyler Bate looks like a child compared to the other 5
He
guys in
does.
this match.
He
I think
looks very small.
like the next shortest guy is like 6'5". I think Carson Beck is still like pretty tall. And of course, Mason Ryan, Walter, Takayama are all beasts. Klinger's pretty big too.
Yeah.
And I loved the segment between Takayama and Tyler Bate, where Bate was just bouncing off of him, just trying to get anything to go.
What I like is when Walter tagged him for the first time, and Takayama and him was trade elbow drops onto, I think it was the champion at the time.
Carson Beck.
Yeah. I think a picture was him. It looked like him.
And then a little bit on that Takayama Bate thing. At this time in 2015, Tyler Bate was 18 years old. Yoshihiro Takayama was 49.
He looks every year of that too.
Yeah, 31
Every
year
year.
age gimmick. I also thought Mason Ryan and the John Klinger guy had great chemistry. They wrestled a couple times for the Shotgun title, which might be something I'd check out before my little subscription here ends on YouTube. But so from the year before that. So I just really liked their chemistry. Thought they worked well together. And overall, I thought it was a really incredible match. This was really good. I gave it 4 1/4.
I was going to give it 4, but I'm like, the Takayama parts felt a little stiff. Everything kind of felt slow. I gave it 3 3/4.
Okay. So we're pretty close. But I just really like this.
Yeah.
Maybe at this point in the show, I was just looking for something to enjoy.
That's
I
fair.
really didn't. I mean, I liked
fair.
Kaylee Ray and Toni Storm was really good, but there was nothing I'd loved yet.
And then our final match of the evening, once again, separate the art from the artist. Marty Scurll against Matt Sydal.
Yeah. Marty Scurll, who at this point had not stepped foot in a Ring of Honor or New Japan ring. So this is a very young Marty Scurll.
Right.
Matt Sydal, I think, was wrestling mostly in Impact at the time.
I think he was more Ring of Honor.
More Ring of Honor at the time?
At this point in time, yeah.
So yeah, this was a pretty good match. Scurll put his knees up at one point to counter a standing moonsault and just kneed Sydal right in the face.
The commentators called it a dream match, so I was really surprised. I was kind of surprised at that too.
Also, can't tell what the context was, but Zack Sabre Jr. was mentioned by commentary.
Yes.
No idea why. There was a knee that I believe Matt Sydal delivered on Marty Scurll. I just wrote that knee looked brutal. Okay, hear me out. I think the chicken wing is a terrible finisher.
It is.
Because he cannot do it to anyone bigger than him. He could do it to Matt Sydal. He could do it to a guy like Ricochet or Zack Sabre Jr. He could do it to junior heavyweights. But if he had to get in the ring with Okada, which we've seen before, right? Can't do that. He's too big. Just doesn't work.
Yeah, because like the only one I've seen it to be good is Oscar Lock, which is like even that. Oh, it's not like a full trick going, I guess.
See, because I've heard Chris Jericho talk about this a lot. The idea that when I used to listen to Talk is Jericho, the idea that a good wrestling finisher can be done to the Big Show and Rey Mysterio. This finisher can be done to Rey Mysterio by Marty Scurll, but not to the Big Show.
I mean, it could. It just won't look real.
Yeah.
It
would look terrible.
Holding his wrists.
And then Marty got his umbrella involved.
Which, of course.
And an exact line from commentary, he sticks it with the pointy end. That was really funny. But I thought this was a really, really good match. Matt Sydal was in his bag.
Yeah.
Marty Scurll, young up and comer, and the British/European indie scene.
I want to
really
give
like
this a 4.
I also gave it a 4. I think this was a pretty good match. On their categories,
Yeah, so we'll start with the first one is best moment.
best moment, yeah. For me, it's the Takayama Tyler Bates stuff. That was just so much fun.
Yeah, they had so much like chemistry as one appearance.
Mm-hmm.
MVP tonight, I want to say Matt Sydal.
Yeah, I think so. I think Matt Sydal should get MVP of the night. That would be the best performance all night. Really good stuff though from Gunther, from Tony Storm.
Yeah,
and Kaylee Ray. I really liked all that.
Yeah, and then we go to our heat check. So
I'm gonna give this to Kaylee and Tony.
That's fair. I was a little afraid to pick Vince Russo.
That would be funny.
So that's a good pick.
Here's the thing:
that one.
when Vince Russo shows up and you're not expecting it, and it's outside of the context of WCW, I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
And really enjoyable. But I think Tony and Kaylee Ray had a phenomenal 5-minute match.
If what they were given, they tore the house down. No.
Apex Mountain's next, but like
I guess
the
maybe
people
WXW.
who would maybe be in their Apex, I don't know what to say here. So I think we'll just kind of skip Apex Mountain. Nobody's really in their
It's
Apex.
2 weeks in a row now.
What was ours last week? What was
We just didn't find anybody who was designed for 2000. No, for 2000 few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We just could find anybody for our
last week was Starcade 97. That's right. Yeah.
And then our classic hot dog handshake.
No, we're skipping. You're skipping stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Surprise of the show. Vince Russo 1,000,000%.
Yes, easily.
The most surprising surprise of the show we've ever had.
So
no
surprising.
idea he ever would have been here.
I hated every second of it.
I thought it was really weird the whole time. So that's our surprise of the show, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Recasting. So I want to take Matt Sydal versus Marty Scurll.
Okay.
Who for you is the biggest up and coming? Because this is the year before Marty really breaks into ROH and New Japan. So who's the big up and comer in Europe/England right now? If you want to get more specific, Michael Oku. Exactly. So then we need a pretty athletic guy who's kind of touring indies right now, has some sort of big name promotions he works for, but isn't really settled anywhere. I think it's Nick Nemeth. I think he's currently what Matt Sydal was in 2015. You know, this was... I mean, there's a little more distance between Matt Sydal's... Also, like, a good resume. Like, they've been in WWE. Matt Sydal had already been in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Nick has worked for New Japan and TNA so far. Like, and of course, WWE. So, that'd be my recasting. Nick Nemeth versus Michael Oku.
Double feature. This was a little bit harder. I went with Ilya Dragunov against Gunther from that NXT UK show we did a few weeks ago. It just makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely probably the best one. Yeah, Gunther and Dragunov, which I think you drafted in our match draft. Is that why it came up a few weeks ago? Yeah. And then nothing from this really makes the Wrestling Criterion Collection.
No.
Nothing was ever going to really be 5 stars on this. And even if it was, nothing on this show is important enough for the Wrestling Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Want to do our classic hot dog, classic handshake?
Might as well.
For me,
can we pick the last match or no? Or
we literally just picked this because of how weird the card was.
Okay.
So you can pick anything.
Okay.
What is your classic handshake?
I'm gonna give it to Takayama for being just in there for no reason.
Just Takayama.
Yeah.
I gave it to that whole 6-man.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
That's
that
fair.
was my favorite match of the night.
That's fair.
So I'll give it to that. And out of 10, this is kind of interesting, like the AAA show we did.
Right.
Because it's kind of an indie. It's from another country. It's a little weird. It's not like a major show. It's just a weird card we found.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
I also gave it a 4.5.
Well, there you
so
go.
We're right on par with each other. 2 weeks in a row, same score because we both gave Starrcade a 7. So, we're right on par with each other. I like that. Yeah. So next week, Survivor Series 1997.
Ooh.
The Montreal Screwjob.
That's gonna be fun.
And and of course we have more stuff coming up. Actually, we're going to be doing a technically starting last week. We have a different company every week for the rest of the year. So we WCW into WXW. We go to WWE next week. We'll be going to CZW the week after that, and then TNA, and then we're going to take a week off from Classic, so we won't have a Classic that next week. And then the last episode of the year will be an ECW show.
It kind of reminds me of like our first era. We were going to do that for winter break one of these years.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds you like that world challenge we do in this kind of show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love when we go all over the place. So, of course, also we've done Ring of Honor. We've done TNA shows before, WCW, WWE, AAA, as we mentioned. We did All In, the first one. We've done Noah. We've done, all over the place, WWE, NXT, of course. So go check those out if you want to listen to more of us. And, so anything else, Shane?
No, that'll be it for tonight's. Stay tuned for next week for the Revive Street 97. But other than that, just enjoy wrestling.
Dude, you gotta find like the most Montreal background ever for
Expos, UB, Blue
Or
Expos
like
hat.
that little, what's the little twisty thing? It's in the Montreal Impact logo.
I know what you mean.